Welcome back, boxing fans, to another lunchtime boxing talk with Sean on boxing. So, wow, man, boxing has been fire. Jesus Christ. With the whole build up for Garcia, Haney, and the mental fucking gymnastics, the mental collapse, the mental breakdown Ryan Garcia was doing on Instagram and social media, basically pushing away even people that actually wanted to support him, to him actually upsetting Devin Haney in an unbelievable performance which surprised everybody, even the most diehard of boxing fans, to now the build-up for Canelo Alvarez, Jaime Munguia this week, and the shit blast between Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya that just went off. I don't know much Spanish, but I know all the bad words, and that's what I heard coming out of Canelo Alvarez's mouth. It was off the chain, off the hook, downright ridiculous. And from Canelo's perspective, I agree with him, right? This is a guy who just stays professional and does what he has to do. Oscar De La Hoya has long been, much like Ryan Garcia, a little mentally unstable, often going off on tangents, often exposing himself as a real reckless and unprofessional dude. But at the same time, one of the best fighters during his era, a guy who's obviously a very good and strong promoter in the sport of boxing, a guy that promoted some of Floyd Mayweather's biggest events. But, you know, today you could look at this as marketing, right? Jaime Munguia is a great young fighter, but he's not the most outgoing personality of type of dudes. Canelo, at the same time, he just is professional and does his thing. So they've both been very respectful towards one another. So how are you going to get a buzz about this fight? How are you going to get people talking about it? How are you going to sell the pay-per-view? Well, you let Oscar De La Hoya play the bad guy. And that's exactly what he did during their press conference, going in on Canelo Alvarez, talking about his failed drug tests, the fact that Jaime Munguia was supposed to step in to replace him when he did fail his drug tests, and really shitting on Canelo and making it sound as if he was somehow a traitor and went against the people who actually built him up in Golden Boy. And there's always two truths to every story. Obviously, we know Oscar, he's a very self-absorbed individual that thinks everything is about him, much like Floyd Mayweather, who historically has been the same way. When we watch the Gervonta Tank Davis promotion, it's more about Floyd than it is about, obviously, Tank Davis. And now with Oscar De La Hoya, most of his promotional fights are the same. It's mostly about him and not so much about the fighters. The funny thing with this whole story is De La Hoya is accusing Canelo of basically being a turncoat, of walking away from the people that built him up. But isn't that exactly what Oscar De La Hoya did to Bob Arum? When Bob Arum in Top Rank built him into the Golden Boy, took him out of the Olympics in 1988, I think it was, or was it 92? Turned him into a superstar, a pay-per-view star in America. Once he got to a certain point, got too big for his britches, he did what many boxers do, which is kind of normal. He became a self-promoter. He left his contract and went in another direction where he would get larger pieces of the pie. You can't hate on him for doing that, because any smart businessman at a certain point, when they know their career got to such a level where now they're pulling in tens of millions of dollars, they want to make sure that they're no longer just getting a small percentage of that. They want to get as much out of it as possible. You only have one career, you only have one life. You might as well get the most out of it while you can. And so him accusing Canelo of doing the exact same thing Floyd Mayweather did, the exact same thing Manny Pacquiao did, the exact same thing Oscar De La Hoya did, you know, it's a little funny now, because literally it's not a surprise. Canelo Alvarez is the A-side, and he's running his career the way he wants it run, just like everybody before him did as well. The other irony in this situation is, literally when PBC, Al Heyman, and Dick Schaefer sold all of Golden Boy's fighters from underneath of them, when Oscar De La Hoya was going through one of his cocaine bouts of depression and obviously, you know, mental illness. The only fighter that really stayed with Golden Boy and basically was the face of the franchise, the promotional company for years, was Canelo Alvarez. If Canelo Alvarez would have left and joined the PBC along with the Charlos and Spence and everybody else, what would have been left of Golden Boy? They wouldn't have had any star fighters. They wouldn't have any type of people that they could have put promotions around. So he should thank his lucky stars that Canelo Alvarez was there to back him and support him, mostly because of their Mexican heritage and wanting to be a good team player. And that's exactly what he did, until of course he found out that De La Hoya was a backstabbing prick. And at that point he did what anyone would do. He said, fuck you, cut ties with him, and went towards a promoter who actually had his back, paid him well, and didn't lie to his face. And here we are today. So of course they're back and forth, very entertaining, very exciting. Obviously this is really going to help promote this fight a lot, because as if you were on my live yesterday, you noticed that we were talking about this undercard, and it has some good fighters on it, but unfortunately every fight is really just a showcase fight. There's no real 50-50 matchups, nothing that's going to get hardcore boxing fans really excited about buying that promotional card and spending $90 to watch one headline fight, 4 undisputed, and then a bunch of showcase fights with good up-and-coming fighters, but not fighting anyone that potentially could give them much of a match. So now of course they're lighting the fire under the fans, creating controversy, and obviously this is all over social media. You see every channel literally talking about it. People that hate on Canelo are saying that De La Hoya roasted him. People that hate Oscar are saying Canelo roasted him, you know, so it is what it is. This is what boxing is, a bit of the WWE, a bit of this circus type of act, all to sell a promotional fight. So, you know, the other irony that popped up during this whole fight, and it's ironic because I work with a bunch of guys, but nobody's really boxing fans. One of my co-workers is a MMA fan more than a boxing fan. He actually picked AJ to get beat by what's his face? Ngannou, Francis Ngannou. And I made a bet telling him that Francis Ngannou was going to get knocked the fuck out. And he wouldn't believe me, so he actually put money on the table, which I still haven't gotten paid for. Come on, David. Pay up, motherfucker. But, you know, needless to say, he today informed me that Ryan Garcia apparently has failed drug tests leading up to the Devin Haney fight. And I'm sure this is going to be the last straw for the whole Glovegate 2.0 narrative, right? And it's probably going to be something we have to deal with on YouTube, specifically American YouTube channels, probably ad nauseum, because these guys are just waiting for an excuse, waiting for an opportunity to make this something racial and to create some sort of racial component, some sort of fix, some sort of narrative that they can push on their channels. And this is exactly what they need. So that's kind of sad, because boxing has been doing great. We just have a lot of great cards announced. The summer boxing season is going to be fire. So there's a lot of great things we should be talking about, but unfortunately a lot of this negativity is going to really be what most channels are pushing, also they can get AdSense money, unfortunately. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not surprised Ryan Garcia is using something. I don't think he's using steroids, but I didn't see anything, so I'm only basing this on the word of my coworker. What I think he probably used was a cutting agent so he could come down in weight to make the weight that he made, which is pretty normal in boxing today. That's the same thing Canelo Alvarez got caught with, and many other fighters. A lot of guys trying to make weight use something to help them get that extra water out, to lose that little extra pounds that they can't get to so they can qualify for a fight. It's not so much that people are using steroids per se like they did at one point, specifically heavyweights who really have used steroids, because Of course, they don't have any weight stipulations. But we're still waiting for the information. We'll find out what the specifics are and talk about it somewhere down the road. But as I say on my channel, I don't really care about the whole steroid conversation. I think everybody's using something to get an advantage. The same way they use weight and all of these kind of things, weight stipulations, rehydration clauses, weight bullying tactics, ring size, gloves. This is all to get an advantage over your opponent. This is something that's always happened in boxing. So I just assume everybody is dirty. Everyone is using something. So I'm never shocked or surprised when someone gets caught. I'm just shocked and surprised that the people in their corner didn't do a better job hiding it. If Ryan Garcia got caught, it's not like people are going to be too upset because no one takes Ryan Garcia seriously. He's not someone that people are talking about as a pound-for-pound great fighter, a Hall of Famer, and a potential superstar. What we know he is a social media guy. No different than Jake Paul or any of the others. And I bet Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are both going to be using steroids or something in their build-up fight as well, because that's where we are in the world. When you can make tens of millions of dollars, you do what you have to do to get paid. And Ryan Garcia is doing that. For Devin Haney, here you go. Now you can justify why you lost. Even though you did take the money, you did make the fight, knowing that you're going to get paid the bag. And that was really the only reason you were interested in fighting Ryan Garcia to begin with. It's not because status-wise this was going to prove that you were pound for pound or a great fighter. Tank Davis had already knocked this guy out. He'd already been exposed. So what were you going to do but just try to do a better job, a more efficient job than Tank Davis? But at the same time, have your most successful pay-per-view, get paid more money than you've ever gotten paid, and help propel your name through the media, through social media, and through just the regular media. And that's what you got. You got more than you were bargaining for. You got your money, you got your attention through social media. Your name is far bigger today than it was before the Ryan Garcia fight. And now you have an excuse for why you lost. And if it is true, then I guess the fight will turn into a no contest, and then you won't even have a loss on your resume. So, at the end of the day, it worked out almost perfect for you. You didn't get the win. You weren't good enough to get the win. You weren't as good as Tank Davis, but yet nonetheless, you got everything else you needed. And with all the attention the PBC are going to be pushing on this, we saw what they did to Fury and Wilder, the whole Glovegate saga, and how it took months and months and months and hundreds of videos bombarding us on the media. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what we have in store for us now that apparently this information is coming out. If anything, I'm mostly upset with Ryan Garcia because he's giving people ammunition to continue to bring down the sport of boxing, create racial narratives, shit on the sport, and talk about us versus them, as opposed to doing what we should be talking about, the sport of boxing. How great it is, how much great fighters there are, how much great fights we're getting, and how it's excellent that Saudi Arabia and promoters are working together to give us the best entertainment available. So I'm super excited for this summer. I'm not gonna let this Ryan Garcia news really impact me, because at the end of the day, I don't really rate Ryan Garcia, and him beating Devin Haney, I felt was more Devin Haney just dropping the ball, dropping an opportunity, being greedy, being too cocky, and being exposed because of it. But let me know what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and look forward to more videos this week. Obviously, we're going live for Canelo Munguia this weekend. I will be live, so jump in, join the group. Let's talk about the fight. I know some people aren't going to want to pay $80 to $90 for the pay-per-view. I already bought mine, so you can come in and we can discuss it, talk about what's going on, talk about how that's going to impact the sport moving forward, and see if this weekend we can get a huge upset like we did last time. Can Munguia beat Canelo Alvarez and shake up the boxing world. You know, De La Hoya would be super stoked for De La Hoya to get 2 victories in back-to-back pay-per-views with Ryan Garcia and then Jaime Munguia. And maybe, just maybe, that's something we can look forward to. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you this weekend. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one. Enjoy.